Hello and welcome back to another live stream for High Altitude Investing. This is the 14th of November. Super hyped about today's live stream. Got some really cool stuff to talk about. The only way that you can fail in crypto, we're going to talk about the one way that you can actually fail in the crypto markets and really what to do, because there's a lot of exciting stuff going on in crypto right now. I know a lot of people freak out during times like this, but you just got to shut your mind up and just focus on how to make money in these markets and how to do it effectively. And yeah, so it's going to be an awesome live stream. Super hyped about today's stream. Share the link here on Discord and X, and we'll go ahead and get started here on this awesome Friday morning. Happy Friday, by the way. It's a beautiful day. I just got done going on a wonderful walk, seeing the sunrise. It's gorgeous outside right now. Birds chirping, the fresh air, even though it's getting cold. It's getting a little bit cold here in Utah, but it was an awesome way to start the day. Woke up super early today. Got my studying done, my scriptures. You guys, if you want to be successful in anything in life, whether it's trading, investing, or whatever you're going for, whatever your goal is, you got to be determined. You got to be waking up early, focusing on studying, learning, exercising, taking care of yourself. You got to be the type of person that takes yourself seriously. Otherwise, the world isn't going to take you seriously. Nobody is going to take somebody who doesn't take themselves seriously. Right? So, Rio, what is up? Thank you for tuning in to today's live stream. I appreciate it. Today, we're going to be talking about the one way that you can fail in the crypto markets. There's only one way that you guys can actually fail in these markets. So, it's going to be very powerful in today's stream. Ivo the V says hello. What is up, Ivo? Thank you for tuning in. I love the Minecraft. Is that a Minecraft sword on your icon? That's dope. I love Minecraft. I've been playing Minecraft since I was like freaking 15 years old, and I'm 28 now. Back when it was alpha version, I got into Minecraft. AJ AJ says, happy Friday, but it's not a happy one. You know, that kind of depends on the way that you look at life, right? Like, you could be going through the worst hell, the worst, just terrible things happening, and you could still be completely content and happy, and just, it's all inside of you. So there's people out there that are going through the craziest things ever, like way worse than anything you're going through, AJ, and they're 2 times happier, 3 times happier than you are. So it's all in your mind. You just got to program yourself into thinking in a way that's actually effective, in a way that's actually conducive to bringing happiness and peace into your life. And the only way to do that is from the inside out, because if you try to go from the outside in, you're not going to make any progress. Volk says, I'm nervous, not going to lie. Last November, I was up 900,000 in Dogecoin. I have 0.165. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Volks. Oh, 2.7 million Dogecoin. Dude, if you have 2.7 million Dogecoin, you're already rich. The only way you can screw this up is if you just straight up sell. Dogecoin isn't going anywhere. It's like Bitcoin. It's like Ethereum. These things are here to stay. The internet's here to stay. Crypto's here to stay. New technologies are here to stay. If you have 2.7 million Dogecoin, you're already better than 99% of the entire planet. So don't let that fear get to you, bro. You've got your shit together, and you're gonna make money. So just keep it up. You're on the right path with holding that much Dogecoin. Operation Shutdown says, hello, Dallin. What is up, my brother? Thank you for tuning in. Lil Nippy says, LMAO. Chase Jenkins. Hey, my buddy Dallin. What's up, Chase? It's good to see you, brother. Thank you for tuning in. It's been so long, man. It's good to see you, dude. Yeah, buy the dip, man. I don't know if you have any crypto. I think I remember Chad got some crypto. I don't remember if you did or not, but if there was ever a time to buy crypto and you want to get rich, now is the time to do it. Put some money into this market. Do whatever you got to do. Go freaking work your butt off if you need to get some money. Go ask for some money from your family. Like, whatever you got to do, I always tell people, like, there's so much money in the world. People are just blind by their own beliefs. They're blinded by their own philosophies. And because they're blinded by their beliefs, they go through every day thinking that they're poor or thinking that there isn't resources. But you guys, there's trillions of dollars of liquid cash in the world, not to mention real estate and stocks and gold and silver and crypto. If you combined all of the actual value in the world, there's more abundance on this planet than anybody would know what to do with. It's just you have to take some for yourself. You know, you got to say, oh, I want a piece of that. And most people go through life just kind of getting pushed around and deciding, oh, you know, living by minimums. They don't take what's rightfully theirs. You guys, if you have an abundance mentality, you can't take away from what's infinite. And there is infinite resources out there. If we run out of resources on Earth, go to freaking space. You know, we have people developing technology to go mine gold in space off asteroids. Do you realize how much resources there are? There's infinite planets. If we overuse Earth, we can go colonize another planet. Like, this idea that there isn't enough for everybody is a total freaking myth. A total lie. Not only is there more than enough on planet Earth for everybody, but there's infinite number of worlds out there for us to go basically conquer, you know. So people just get crazy ideas in their heads because of programming from their friends and family and TV shows and movies and crap that ruins their lives. But yeah, Volks, what is or Lil Nippy says, what do you think of Dash? You know, Dash is actually fire. Dash is one of the earliest privacy coins. This is it's like digital cash, right? So it's kind of, you know, some people say the original vision for Bitcoin was digital cash. And when it comes to crypto and when it comes to money, I firmly believe in privacy for our money. You know, we should be able to transact with our finances without having every single entity above us in the world going through our transactions with a fine-tooth comb. We should be able to transact. I'm not saying that we don't pay taxes. I'm not saying we don't support the institutions and governments that have been so good to us. In America, we're extremely blessed to live in the land, the most abundant land in the entire world, with the most resources, the most opportunity, the most, you know, here in America, we have it really good. We, even with the corruption that is in the government today, that's a little bit more than it used to be, we have the best opportunity in the world for success. So I always tell people, you live in freaking America, you know, support that. Like, believe in America, believe in, maybe some of you guys don't live in America. I know I'm on a live stream right now with people listening all over the world, but for my friends that do live in America, you guys, like, we are in the greatest country in the entire world, and I know that that's true. This is the country where dreams come true. You know, there's no Chinese dream. There's no African dream. It's the American freaking dream, dude. This is where you get it. This is where you make stuff happen in America, you know. And I'm not saying you can't be successful other places, but man, we have it good. So pay your taxes and stuff like that, but we shouldn't have every single transaction tracked and traced. Our cell phone shouldn't be tracked and traced. All this stuff, privacy is one of the biggest things in our world that we need to continue to develop, in a world where everybody's trying to spy on people and take their information, take their resources, take everything from them and turn them into a freaking product. So privacy is important, and that's one of the big reasons I love Dash. It's like Bitcoin, digital cash, but the difference being is the fact that this has privacy built into it. It's one of the oldest coins too. This thing looks so good right now. Do you realize, you guys, what just happened to this market? We have a massive ABC correction here in the big picture, wave A, wave B, and wave C. So this is a huge corrective wave structure. We're talking about a bear market that lasted for 1, 2, 3, 4, pretty much 5 years. All right? Why do you think there's so much FUD and fear out there about crypto? So many people that think that this crypto market thing is just this passing phase of the world, that there's no substance to it. We've been in a bear market on altcoins for 5 years. And I can prove this. If you don't believe me, Go look at the different altcoins. It doesn't even matter what one you look at. Go look at XRP, right? Yes, XRP started to break out. We started to break out on XRP up to a new all-time high recently, but if you study the chart up until that point, look how freaking long this thing was in a bear market. Here's 2018. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, almost 7 years before it finally broke out again. Yeah, we had a little pump right here, but it was essentially in a bear market for 7 years. Now, if we go back to Dash, Dash is breaking bullish out of a 5-year bear market here. This is incredibly bullish. This is such a good opportunity. But everybody's worried about the government shutdown and all the BS out there that's taking them away from the truth. And you guys, today's live stream is about there's only one way you can fail in crypto, which we're going to talk about in just a second. But you guys, if you get fearful in these markets, if you don't take advantage of the opportunity that's right in front of you, you're going to fail in these markets. That's not the one way that you can fail, but it's one of the ways that you can fail in the market, is to just be fearful and, follow the news, follow what's popular, follow what's cool, follow what the consensus of the crowds is. You know what the consensus of the crowds does? That leads you to all the stuff that sucks in life, ruining your life, partying, doing all that BS that just takes away from your life, scrolling on social media for hours. That's the kind of crap that ruins people's lives, but everybody does it. So don't follow the crowds. That's how you lose your damn mind. So if you look right here with Dash, we have this big falling wedge here on Dash. This is also a bit of a bull flag structure if we were to take this and move it forward. It looks more like a wedge, though, that we broke bullish out of here, and we're starting to bottom out. We have our support level right here. Support and resistance is a zone, so we did pretty much test that support level perfectly. Now we're starting to come up off of that level a little bit. Dash can easily go for another run here. I don't think this thing's done. This thing is not done. We just got started with Dash. This thing is ready to make some people a millionaire. This thing is ready to give people their favorite house if they want to go buy a new home. The Dash is getting ready to make it so you can go buy whatever home you want when everybody else is complaining about house prices. Everybody's like, oh, housing is so expensive. Well, that's because you guys are too stupid to get rich. If you don't want to live a bad life, don't be a dumb person. All right? Go educate yourself. Take advantage of the opportunity that God has given you, because he's given you so much. You were given, at least I was, given a good life with good family, with good parents, we were poor when we were younger, but as I started to grow up, my family started to get more prosperous. I was given so much. What am I going to do? Just not give back to the world? That's more selfish than taking what I can and giving back with knowledge and information and helping other people get rich too. It'd be more selfish to just sit around and be lazy and not do anything with my life. God has given me so much, dude. Look at Dash right here. Dash is looking almost exactly like Ethereum before our 2021 run, where Ethereum went all the way to a new all-time high and blew people away and came all the way up here to like 4,000 per coin, almost 5 if we look at the price here. Almost 5,000 per coin. Dash looks the same. And yeah, you guys can sit around and deedle dumb all day about time cycles and crap like that, but if you look at the chart, this thing tells you what it's going to do. It's going to go up. The one way you guys can fail in crypto, you want to know what it is? I'll tell you guys. First, I'm going to read a couple messages here, though. I love America and Utah. Utah is dope. I love Utah. It's my favorite place. I've lived in Vegas. I went around. I tried New York for a little while, just like in Airbnbs. I lived in Florida and Airbnbs for a while. Utah's dope. Utah's like one of my favorite places ever. especially if you get away from Salt Lake City with the fault line and stuff with earthquakes. Get just a little ways away from Salt Lake City in nature where there's mountains and fishing and hillbillies. That's where it's good. So yeah, I love that. Would you invest into Venture Mind AI? No, I don't know enough about it to invest into it. We could look at the chart in a minute if you remind me again. Link update, please. Remind me again in just a second, or I'll just come back and look at the messages and we'll talk about that. When Velo pumped to the moon, Dallin. You know, Velo is one of those coins that it's gonna moon. There's no doubt in my mind that Velo will blow people away. It's only a matter of time. Lil Nippy says, yeah, Dash is about to go crazy. No, it really is. This chart is freaking bullish. This thing is going to, I'm telling you, if you want to become a millionaire, go put 10K into Dash. If you've got $10,000, go put it into Dash. You'll probably make pretty close to $1 million on this run. You know, maybe not quite, but you get pretty close to $1 million putting 10K into this coin right now. It's worth the risk. If you guys are entrepreneurs, I know a lot of entrepreneurs and business people follow my channel and stuff. If you guys are like an entrepreneur or something like that, go take some of your money, take some risk, you throw some money into these markets. And if you're not, if you're more broke, if you're living broke right now and you're not rich, you don't believe you have access to resources, I promise you that you do. There's somebody out there that if you present yourself in the right way will either give you capital to invest, or if you go trade services like go clean up leaves on their lawn. My friend Harley, he created a business the other day because he wants to get a surgery done. He's got all his money in crypto, so he doesn't want to spend a dime. He is the most stubborn and the most positive way possible person that I've ever met in my life. Well, one of the most. And he's so cool. But he started this lawn care business, and he's going around on Facebook posting videos of him like time lapse cleaning leaves off people's lawns since it's the fall. He's going around making a bunch of money. You guys, there's a problem in the world called people have lawns that have leaves on them, and the solution is, hey, I'm going to come to your house or post on Facebook and ask you if you want this done, or maybe you find my Facebook post and I'm going to do this for you and I'm going to make money. So don't tell me you guys can't make money. You know, don't tell me you can't do anything. Otherwise, you don't know who you are if you think you can't do stuff. But there's only one way you can fail in crypto. The one way you guys can fail in crypto, I'm going to tell you guys the magic word in just a second. I promise I really will. What do you think about Kite? We'll have to check on that in just a second. Javier Brian Wall says, did I miss the Bitcoin Cash update? No, I haven't done Bitcoin Cash yet today, but I'll be happy to in just a minute. Okay, so the secret word, you guys, the one way you guys can fail in crypto is discouraged. This is how you guys are going to fail. If you allow yourself to get discouraged, you're going to fail. That's the one way you can fail. If you allow yourself, never, ever, ever be discouraged. It will never serve you. You have to have confidence in your future. You have to know that God loves you. You have to know that He has a plan for you, that you have a purpose in this life, that He wants to give you good things. You have to know who you are. And if you can know those things and you can stay focused on what's coming and keep your faith and not let yourself get discouraged, you're going to make money in these markets. Because I'm telling you right now, have you ever seen this picture before? Man mining diamonds. Man mining for diamonds meme, okay? This picture is so true. I know this video right here says the problem with this image on YouTube, and this is probably some guy trying to say how dumb this picture is, but I'm going to tell you that that guy is dumb. He is stupid if he doesn't believe in this picture, he's a complete idiot, because this principle is extremely true. It's not slightly true. This principle is extremely true. Look at this guy right here. Do you see how he's got his head down and he's discouraged? But if he swung his pickaxe one more time, there would be diamonds behind it. All of his dreams coming true. And then there's this guy up here that's determined that he'll probably get there. But this man is discouraged on the bottom. And I can tell you, based on my research, based on all the books that I've read, all the time that I've spent learning, there is so many stories of people that gave up right before the big prosperous breakthrough was about to happen. They got discouraged, they gave up, and they failed. There's stories of people that sold gold mines because they had real true stories, historically documented stories of people that sold gold mines because they found a gold vein, they started mining it, they put millions of dollars into mining it, into building the infrastructure to mine gold, and they get to this point where the vein stops. And they're like, well, we were told that there was like tons of gold here. And then they give up. They get discouraged. They keep looking for another vein, keep looking, but they give up. And then they sell it to a young guy that barely had any money at all. He had to borrow money from his family to get this stuff to mine for the gold. But he had a mind, and he used it. And he didn't let himself get discouraged. And he went out, and you know what he did? He called somebody that knew what they were doing, that knew how mineral stuff worked, how the earth worked. And that guy determined that the people that were mining for gold there previously didn't understand fault lines. And based on his calculations, the vein of gold that had stopped would be about 3 feet from the very place that they stopped digging for more gold. And guess what? They went to mine right there, 3 feet from the place where there was the vein, where they'd given up looking for that vein. 3 feet. And they found the vein again. And that guy got so rich. Yeah, he had to pay off all of his family members because he had borrowed money from his family and stuff in order to mine for that vein of gold and stuff. But he had a mind. So it's so crazy. This is the image that you need to see right now, that nobody's posting because they're all worried about what's going to happen in the markets. This is the image you need to understand about Dash. People are a little bit more excited about Dash, but right here, they were discouraged. They were feeling discouragement. Right now on Bitcoin, people are discouraged. Right now on most altcoins are still right here, you guys. They're still in the depression phase, the despair phase of the cycle. They're still in a state of fear, in a state of discouragement. That's where most people are at with their portfolio, with their altcoins. And that is exactly what causes you to be this guy on the bottom and not the person that keeps going for that last little push until he finally breaks through and gets what he was going for. So this principle is so powerful, especially in the crypto markets. I've experienced this before in my life where I was just about to give up, then I went for that last stride, that last little push. And not only did I get what I wanted to get, but I got 100 times more than what I was planning to. Way more. So when life puts you in a place where you're tempted to get discouraged, where you're tempted to say, you know what, there is no reason to be bullish on crypto, or there's no reason to keep going, or, maybe I should just give up entirely. Never, ever, ever listen to that voice, because it's not coming from God. I can tell you that right now. He would have you confident. He would have you prosperous. He would have you focused. He would have you in a state of mind that is conducive to success, conducive to peace, conducive to moving forward, conducive to thinking about the future, having faith in the future, hope, charity, and all of the godly qualities that he would have you have in your mind. That's basically what God wants you to have all the time, is those qualities. So understand who's talking to you, people. Know what voice is coming to you in your mind. All right, so we've got VentureMind AI. We'll start with VentureMind AI. We already ran over Dash, so let's pull up VentureMind AI. We'll do a little bit of analysis here on VentureMind AI. I did do this the last live stream, so I'm going to do a very quick one because I'm getting to the point where a lot of people are requesting the same coins. And as much as I love to serve you guys and give you guys what you want and what you ask for, there's a certain point where I'm just like, dude, I talked about this last week and then nothing has changed. Like, why are you tripping? You know? And with VentureMind AI, it's kind of like that. We have a big ABC correction. This is the despair or the depression phase of the cycle. This is where you're going to get a reversal. We're going to get a run like how Dash did. This is where reversals happen. This is the point where everybody turns into the guy on the bottom here, walks away from the gold mine because they give up and they're despaired and they're discouraged, and they walk away from the gold mine or the diamond mine or whatever it is right before the reversal happens. That's where VentureMind AI is at right now. All right, let's pull up Link here. Good old Link. Here we go. You guys, Link is so simple. It's not that hard to do analysis on this coin, okay? All you got to do, pull up TradingView, pop up over to the 1 month candlesticks, okay? Zoom out as far as you can so you can see the whole picture, everything that's happening here on this coin. Pop up another chart on the right over here and take a look at other cycles, especially Bitcoin back in 2015. Let's pull up Bitcoin over here on the right back in 2015 and look right here. We've got Bitcoin in 2015. Okay. Here's a market cycle on Bitcoin. Here's a market cycle on Chainlink. This is why I also tell people, you guys, why are you so focused on time cycles? You know, I have nothing. Listen, I believe in time cycles. I have nothing against using a time cycle in these markets, like understanding, you know, 4-year cycles, 8-year cycles, and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with having a basic understanding of time cycles, but you can't worship it like the end-all be-all. You know, you can't pretend that it's just going to be the one thing that proves everything else wrong. That's not a valid strategy. If you understand these markets, you understand that every strategy has its flaws. Every strategy has its point of failure. The only strategies that work 100% of the time are strategies in worlds that the myths in fiction worlds that don't exist. Okay, that's the only 100% strategies in the world of trading and investing. So don't tell me, you know, that time cycles are end all be all. There may be some value there, and it may be something you want to pay attention to and think about. But look how different this cycle is compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin right here, we have our cycle. So our cycle really starts right here in 2013. So we have 2013, 2014, 2015, and a new cycle starts. Okay, so basically 3-4 years. All right, but check out this Chainlink cycle here. Take a look at this. Chainlink cycle starts in 2019. Let me put my hat back on. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, right? Look how different it is. You know, we've got basically 3-4 year cycle over here versus a 6-7 year cycle over here. So it's not the same thing. It's the same market cycle. It's the same type of attitude in the market, but it's a difference in time. There's a difference in time, 100%. And if you look right here on Bitcoin had some pretty high volatility right here. There was all sorts of FUD, all sorts of Bitcoin's dead. Everybody was calling Bitcoin dead. All right here when Bitcoin came from $769 down to about $475. Bitcoin apparently was dead during that period of time. Obviously it wasn't, but people thought it was. That's what Chainlink is doing right now. So if you want to understand the Chainlink cycle, you want to get an idea of what's happening in this market, take a look at the Bitcoin cycle, take a look at what happened to Bitcoin over here where Bitcoin did recover and it did see a big parabolic run. Chainlink, check this out. Look at Chainlink here. I'm telling you guys, this thing is going to do a run. It's only a matter of time. The only way you guys can lose in these markets is if you get discouraged in the market. If you allow yourself to get discouraged in crypto, you're going to lose money. That's how you're going to lose. Because at some point, Chainlink is going to do what Bitcoin did in 2017. And at some point, Dash is going to keep pumping, probably sooner rather than later. At some point, Bitcoin is going to recover. This technology is here to stay. So it blows my mind. People lose their sense of reality so quickly. Caesar R. When Velo pumped to the moon. Oh, I already talked with you a little bit about that. I'm bullish on Velo. You just have to understand, you guys, these cycles can drop so hard. It's only a matter of time. People are in that state of fear, in that state of depression. If you look at the fear and greed index right now, okay, pull up the fear and greed index. We're in a state of extreme fear. Now, tell me how any time in the past, ever since crypto was created, when crypto topped out in a state of extreme fear. No, crypto tops out in phases of extreme greed, not extreme fear. Yet people are trying to call a top on crypto. We're in a state of extreme fear. This is when you're supposed to be buying. This is when Warren Buffett says be greedy when other people are fearful, and fearful when other people are greedy. People are fearful right now, not greedy. If they were greedy, I would have everybody excited in my chat box right now. Everybody would be so hyped. I probably would have already gotten like 10 donations from people trying to get requests for coins. I would have everybody talking in my Discord, everybody all hyped and excited. Everybody would be they'd be in a state of euphoria. But no, you know what people are doing right now? People are freaking out. They're losing their minds. They're in a state of total fear. Extreme fear. And I'll let you decide what you're going to do with that. But that's what's happening. What do you think about Kite? Did we talk about this coin before? I don't think we've ever talked about Kite before. Let's pull up Kite. Let's go to the 45-minute time frame here on Kite and take a look at this chart. So this looks like a fairly new one. This one got released back here in October here on Binance. And we had a pretty big drop off here when it got released. Came down to the bottom of this wick. So we have a wick right here. We came down to the bottom of that wick. Now we're kind of trending sideways. The fact that it's trending sideways is a good thing. Markets often, when they bottom out, they will do a sideways kind of chop action like this. They'll do stuff like that, and then they'll bottom out. So that's a good sign. There is a lot more volume down here in this area than there was up here. So obviously there's institutional interest down here at these levels, at these lower levels here. There's people picking it up, institutional money probably. Otherwise there wouldn't have been a 2.34 billion Kite volume candlestick. So yeah, this thing could bottom out pretty soon. I'd be looking for a reversal off these lows. I'd be looking for a big kind of double bottom structure here on Kite. Volk says, I keep adding to my bag. Have conviction. That's the attitude you got to have. You got to double down. You got to just say, you know what? I'm not going to let this market take my money. I'm not going to let these whales win. I'm not going to let fear take over. I'm better than that. I'm more intelligent than that. And that's the attitude you got to have, because the market is going to have days where it is pretty dang fearful, pretty dang scary, pretty dang tempting to get out of the market. And if you don't have this attitude of I'm going to win, then you're going to lose. Surprise Friday morning live stream. Smash those likes, fam. Dallin, can you take a peek at Telcoin after the 100% run after bank approval? Yeah, Telcoin, I posted about Telcoin on my X account. If you guys don't know, I've been talking about Telcoin since the bottom of Telcoin. And even before that a little bit. I kind of got cued into Telcoin back in 2022. But if you look at the chart here, you can see what happened to this chart. We basically had a big drop off a cliff, right? Big fall. I started talking about Telcoin around this area right here, especially in this area right here in 2024 before we had our first big run. And the reason I talked about this coin is because I zoomed out here on the daily candlesticks and I said, you know what? This is what I've seen in these markets before. I know what this is. I've seen this before, and I'm going to take advantage of it. I'm going to capitalize on this opportunity that I see. Let me pull up let's pull up Ethereum. It's even a better comparison than the Bitcoin comparison here. Pull up Ether here. Ether and Telcoin is the same setup, okay? So we have Ether on the right, we have Telcoin over here on the left. Let's put them on the same candlestick time frame. So both of them are on 15-day candlesticks, okay? This is the same setup, people. This is an ABC correction down from our peak, wave A, wave B, and wave C down from our peak. Perfect ABC correction. Just like this, see? Then we get our bottoming pattern, our bottoming structure here. This drop right here was pretty much the absolute bottom here on Telcoin. Well, it was the absolute bottom. And if you look right here, that's a similar kind of thing on Ethereum. Ethereum had to shake people out before it started to bottom out and pump. In terms of where Telcoin is at in its cycle, this point right here on Ethereum, where Ethereum came down just a little bit after breaking out of its double bottom pattern right here. This little point right here, right before Ethereum went to the moon, that's where I see Telcoin right now. In terms of the cycle, in terms of the chart, that's where I see this coin. It's the same point in the cycle. So this is the point of the cycle where the price is undervalued. The price is starting to bottom out, but it's still undervalued. We're still way, way, way cheaper than what Telcoin is going to be worth in 6 months. Way cheaper. And that's where Ethereum was when it was worth $350. It started to bottom out, started to show some signs of strength here on Ethereum, and then it went to the moon, all the way to a new all-time high. That's where Telcoin is at right now. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be so much fun. I feel like Ethereum is just going to rip. Got me one. Yeah, Ethereum will probably rip pretty hard. Ethereum is like the mothership of altcoins. It's one of the oldest coins. People love Ethereum. It's probably going to rip pretty hard. Do you think that BTC roll over to ETH today? You know, there is more and more of people rolling their Bitcoin over into altcoins, which is actually, I know people want to talk about the government shutdown and all this stuff as to why why Bitcoin pulled back and why some of the coins are pulling back. You know why I think Bitcoin is pulling back right now? You guys want to know? I think Bitcoin is pulling back right now because people are trading it for altcoins. That's why. The reason Bitcoin is pulling back from its peak, why it came down from 126,000 down to 96,000 per coin, is because people are selling their Bitcoin for altcoins. And I'm not saying Bitcoin won't rip, you guys. Bitcoin is going to rip, and it's going to rip gloriously. It's going to be way fun, way profitable. Not altcoin level profitable, but it's going to be glorious on Bitcoin. But I am saying that the reason that we're selling off on Bitcoin right now is because of the Bitcoin dominance chart. Look at this rising wedge that has been forming for multiple years that we broke bearish out of. Perfect bearish breakout. Perfect retest. We came right back up to the top of the wedge and retested it. You have no idea how many times in the 9 years of trading and investing have I seen a rising wedge go like this, break down, come right back up and test that line, and then go right down, fall off a cliff. That is something I've seen so many times in these markets, and that's exactly what Bitcoin dominance just did. It broke bearish out of a rising wedge, came right up to the top of that rising wedge pattern, and look, it's starting to sell off. So you guys, and what you have to know about Bitcoin too, by the way, right here, you'd think Bitcoin was going down, right? Bitcoin dominance went from 73% down to 39%. Okay, you'd think Bitcoin fell, but it really only fell at the start. So there's always a point in every cycle where people exchange their Bitcoin, like the big whales exchange their Bitcoin for altcoins. The big whales do. And Bitcoin has a tendency to show some weakness, and the altcoins just kind of mainly hold their value. Or even some of them run, like we saw in Zcash. That's when the whales are putting their money into altcoins before alt season starts. And what's crazy is right here, Bitcoin doesn't go down. It only goes down at that first little point when alt season starts. Bitcoin goes down because all the big whales are selling their Bitcoin for altcoins right at the beginning of alt season. So they sell all their Bitcoin for altcoins. Bitcoin still sees a big run. Bitcoin still runs during alt season, still goes parabolic and everything during alt season. But altcoins go way parabolic, and so Bitcoin dominance falls off a cliff. So that's what's crazy about this drop right here on Bitcoin dominance, and is the fact that when this happens, this big crash, the alt season, when it happens, Bitcoin still goes up. But at the very beginning of it, Bitcoin pulls back because all the whales are putting their Bitcoin into altcoins because they want to make more money, right? Man of Visuals donated $13 Canadian. Thank you, brother. He says, thanks for the live stream. It brings me motivation and conviction. How high are we seeing for Velo to go? Yeah, let's pull up Velo here. I don't know how high it's going to go. I'll be 100% honest with you guys. I have tools for getting an idea of where these coins could go, but I have no idea where Velo is going to go in terms of when it's going to stop going up. For sure, right, to be like, oh, this is where it's going to stop. I don't know that. I have no idea about that. But I do have some ideas of where it could based on technical analysis. So if you look at Velo here, let's go to Velo. Let's go to Velo on KuCoin where we actually have some volume here, where we can actually see the volume. Let's pull up our 15-day candlesticks here. And let's take a look at this market right here. So this is actually kind of doing the same thing as Nakamoto Games, by the way. So if we look at Nakamoto Games.tether, it did a pretty similar thing, you guys. Nakamoto Games fell off a cliff. Totally fell off a cliff. Then it made this, it pumped right here for a little while, and it made a head and shoulders top right here. And it went a little bit lower, back down to support. And now Nakamoto Games is set up to double bottom down here and actually go for a run now. Velo did the same thing, you guys. Fell off a cliff, started to go for a run, did a head and shoulders pattern right here, like this. And now we're getting close to our bottom. Any day now this thing is going to bottom. It could go a little bit lower. I don't know where it's going to bottom for sure. But it's going to come down to these lows. Come like this, start to scoop up off of those lows, and start to go for a run. And once it starts to go for a run, that's how you can start to determine your targets. And the best way to determine your targets is to use the Fibonacci extension tool. So you measure from the bottom, the absolute bottom, the very lowest low, to the local peak, right here, back down to wherever it stops. So we don't know for sure. But once we start to see a double bottom, start to come up off the lows, and we can say, okay, this is probably the bottom. We can place our Fibonacci extension tool there and get an idea for targets of how high it can go. And these, if it goes up to these higher targets, you're talking about some pretty big gains. If we put this thing on the logarithmic chart, and we just take our Let's take this off log. There we go. If we look at the logarithmic chart here and we take a look at Velo, and let's say it doesn't go all the way to the sometimes these altcoin runs will go like to the 22,618. This is crypto. They blow people away. They do stupid runs, big crazy bullish gains, right? But let's just pretend that this thing goes for a conservative run. Let's say it runs to the 9618. We'll choose that one, okay? So let's take our tool here and let's say it goes just a little bit lower. Let's say Velo goes just a little bit lower here to like maybe 0.004 cents. If we go from 0.004 cents up, which would, it's still a little bit lower from where we're at, and we go up to the 9618, that is almost 10,000% gains. So that's basically 100 times your money. It would be 91 times your money from those lows up to the 9618 Fibonacci. So what you do, since nobody knows where it's going to go, how high it's going to go, I should say, what you do is you scale out. So what we can say with confidence is currently Velo is undervalued. We can say that with a high degree of confidence, Velo is undervalued. And then second of all, you say, okay, well, I'm going to accumulate this coin undervalued at dirt cheap prices here. And then I'm going to scale out. And by the way, what Velo has done here in terms of technical analysis, if we pull up our running diagonal Elliott wave, I believe. Yeah, there we go. Running diagonal Elliott wave. If we pull up our running diagonal Elliott wave here, or leading diagonal, that's what I was thinking of. Leading diagonal. If we pull up our leading diagonal Elliott wave right here, this is what Velo is doing, you guys. Velo is a leading diagonal Elliott wave structure. So what you can do is you can say, okay, we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 structure here. So there's our rising wedge that has a 5-wave structure in it. That gives us wave 1. So here's wave 1 right here. Right, if we look at our leading diagonal example, you can see there's a little rising wedge. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you go for wave 2, and then 3, 4, and 5. That's what a leading diagonal Elliott wave looks like. Let's isolate our chart right here. So we have our leading diagonal here. Here's wave 1. We're doing our ABC correction currently for wave 2. A, B, and C for wave 2 here. So we've got wave 2. Okay. So this is the point where we're ready to go like this. And go for wave 3. All the way up to really, pretty high levels. And then we could go 4 and 5. This is what Velo is doing. Okay? This is the setup that Velo has. So though I don't know where Velo is going to top out, what I can tell you with a high degree of confidence is that we're in wave 2 right now. We're undervalued. The worst thing you could be doing is selling. The smartest thing you could be doing is buying. If you're buying Velo, then you can scale out. You can sell some here, sell some here. Sell some here, sell some here, sell some here, sell some here, sell some here. Just scale out into the pump that comes afterwards. Because if you're buying down here, the worst thing that can happen is that you buy the bottom of wave 2. It doesn't go as high as you think it's going to go. And if it starts to get anywhere near wave 1 again, you could just sell out. You're still going to be in profit if you bought the bottom of wave 2. It's going to be above the top of wave 1. You're going to be in profit. So if you're buying the dip, it puts you in a position where you're in control. If you have a good entry, you have the upper hand on the market. The market doesn't have the upper hand on you. So the secret of trading and investing successfully is to get an upper hand on the market, and the only way to do that is to buy the dip. You have to buy the dip. You have to buy people's fear. You have to buy ABC corrections. You have to buy stuff that people think is going to go down. And then scale out. No, I don't know whether Velo is going to go to 40 cents or a dollar or $6. It wouldn't surprise me to see it go up to these higher levels, but I don't know for sure. But I can tell you that if you buy the bottom of wave 2, you're getting an edge on the market. You have an upper hand on the market. And when it starts to pump and starts to break out again, however high it goes, you have the upper hand. You can just scale out, take profits, leave some in the market, let it ride. You have the upper hand. So that's my view on Velo. Let's see here. High Tech Redneck says, hi Dallin, 52,365 theta and 103,000 T fuel. Yeah, that is something to be proud of, man. One of the first people that tuned into today's live stream told me how many Dogecoin he had, and I just straight up told him, you're already rich, man. Even if you don't believe it, even if you're a little fearful, because he was a little bit afraid of the market and what was going to happen, even if you're a little bit in that state of mind where, is this going to go up? A little bit fearful. With how many T fuel and theta you have, you're already rich, bro. It's just a matter of time. You're already rich. Like, yeah, if you want to learn more and start trading and investing and stuff in the short term, in the meantime, and start making money too, but you're already rich. You're going to make money on that theta. I have no doubt in my mind theta will see a run, and it will see a big run. This thing is in a state of extreme fear. Look at this. The fear and greed index, extreme fear. This is not a market top. This thing is going to turn around and it's going to go for a run. You're already rich, bro. I'm just saying. You're going to be sitting pretty. Luna the Alpha says, yay, GJJJ, 100%. Yep, 100%. That's true. Well, thank you, Luna, for agreeing with everything that I'm saying. Oh, man. K7 Gixer 1000 says BCH BTC down 98.5%. Good time to get in. Yeah, you guys, we're switching from a Bitcoin bull market to an altcoin bull market. And Bitcoin will still go up. Not a bear on Bitcoin. But we're switching from a Bitcoin bull market to an altcoin bull market. We have a left shoulder here, a head right here, a right shoulder right here. We just broke bearish out of the rising wedge that I talked about earlier in this stream. Broke bearish out of the rising wedge, came and retested that level. That happens like every time you do a bear break of a rising wedge. We're switching from a Bitcoin bull market to an altcoin bull market. So yes, when it comes to BCH/BTC here in this chart, the Bitcoin Cash Bitcoin chart, this thing is a really, really, really good entry down here. Look at that. I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite things to see in the whole world, to see a chart that looks like this. Why? Because you know what happened? When I first got into Bitcoin back in 2015, my little brother told me about it in 2014, thought it was a scam, learned about it, watched some videos, realized Bitcoin was not a scam. It was a new technology just like the internet. When I first got into Bitcoin in 2015 and actually decided to pull the trigger and buy my first Bitcoin in 2015, Bitcoin looked exactly like this, by the way, almost the same. And look at it. Look, I'll pull up Bitcoin right now. So when I see stuff like this, I'm like, yes. Because, by the way, you guys, I never calculated, because I had so much money on so many different exchanges and stuff, and ended up losing like even access because I had so many exchanges. I didn't even know all of the exchanges that I had money on. I had 32 Bitcoin. you guys, I don't know exactly how much money I made in 2017, but I know it was pretty close to $1 million in a single year at 21 years old. And you know how I made all that money? Seeing a chart that looks exactly like BCH BTC, but it was called Bitcoin. And if you look right here, look at this. When I first got into Bitcoin here in 2015, I didn't know anything that much about technical analysis. I'd started to learn a little bit on YouTube and stuff. There's basically only Forex videos and stock videos on YouTube. Nobody was making crypto content at that time about technical analysis crypto. My channel was actually one of the first channels about technical analysis on crypto. One of the first channels that on YouTube. There was only like Chris Dunn and a few other people that were doing what I'm doing still to this day. So I was pretty early on, but I didn't know much about the markets. I didn't understand the markets, what would happen, how technical analysis worked, how price action worked. You guys get the point. But I saw a chart that looked exactly like how Bitcoin Cash versus Bitcoin looks. A big crash in the market, a falling off a cliff. That's what happened here on Bitcoin. In 2014, Bitcoin fell off a cliff, and it looked pretty bad. But because I believed in Bitcoin, because I had been converted to the philosophy of Bitcoin and internet money, I bought some Bitcoin here in 2015 and then proceeded to make more money than I even knew what to do with in the period of basically a year, because I really started to make money in 2017. I made enough money to buy like a 2001 BMW in 2016, but in 2017 I bought a 2014 BMW, paid cash. Like I paid, it's like 30,000. Was it 36,000 or I don't remember. I paid cash for like a $30,000-ish car. In a single year, I made just stupid amounts of money at a really young age. Okay. Why? Because I saw a chart that looked like this. Because I saw a chart that looked like Bitcoin Cash versus Bitcoin. So we are going from an altcoin or a Bitcoin bull market to an altcoin bull market. That's what's coming. Tiny Lens Tails says Pi Cycle not triggered and has worked every time so far. So for it not to matter means this time is different, which is usually the incorrect attitude, right? I don't know enough about Pi Cycles to respond to you. I can tell you that I'm bullish, that the markets look really good. I know people don't think that, but they do look really good. Especially the altcoins look insanely good. Bitcoin still looks like it's going to go to at least 250,000, potentially higher in the big picture. So this is just a correction. There will be a day where this drop that we saw in Bitcoin was like the drop that we saw in Bitcoin in 2024 when it went from 73 down to 50. Or any other drop on Bitcoin where it looked like it was dead and everybody thought it was a top and then it kept going up. It's just a matter of time before it keeps trending up. Bitcoin is here to stay. Let's see. Mana Visual says, thanks, man. XRP and Dash are also I am considering. Yeah, so Dash, or XPR I meant, not XRP. Dash is a super bullish coin. Dash looks insanely good. I'm a big Dash fan. Big Dash fan. This thing looks so good. This is like insanely perfect. Like, there's a few things that I really like in life. Actually, quite a few things that I really like in life. But this chart pattern is one of them. Like this is as attractive to me as a pretty girl in a lot of ways. Because you could have a girlfriend if you want to, if you just buy Dash. So this chart looks really good, you guys. Dash looks amazing. Um, I'm telling you, this thing is gonna blow up. We literally only got started with Dash. This pump that we just saw on Dash, where it broke out to $149 and then pulled back down to 73, is the exact same pump that happened on Bitcoin in terms of where it's at in its market cycle when Bitcoin pumped from August of 2015 up to October of 2015 and then pulled back right here from $498 down to $297. This wick right here, it's the exact same thing. Look at that volume spike. That volume spike is the exact same thing. Look at this ABC correction here. I'm telling you guys, Dash is going to run, and it's going to run crazy, crazy bullish. So I'm a big Dash fan. BitSource AML Solutions Consulting says hi. Well, hello. Thank you for tuning in to today's live stream, my friend. Mr. Intelliless says, first time seeing you live. Well, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate the support. I try to do this every Friday, usually closer to 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. I might start doing it early like this more often just because it's fun. I get excited in the mornings and want to talk about crypto on a live stream. Tom says, hi, Dallin. Can you look up on Pirate Chain or R, please? It has better privacy than Monero. You know, I actually have a friend that's a huge Pirate Chain guy. He loves Pirate Chain. And I hear it is actually really good tech. Let's see. Is it just A-R-R-R, not A-A-R-R. R. Okay, Pirate Chain. R. I mean, their name is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. See what I mean? Like, look at this early Pirate Chain cycle, you guys. Look at that. Let's go to the 8-day here. Let's just zoom in a little bit. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys about buying stuff that looks dead. Look, before Pirate Chain pumped the first time that it ever pumped, look how dead this thing looked. Especially here in the COVID drop in 2020. Man, that thing looked dead. But what I'm telling you is when people think something is dead, when people don't see value in it, when they've thrown it aside and said, you know what, I'm going to reject this. It just doesn't look like it's worth anything to me. Usually there's some value in that thing that people, they're just not seeing it. Pirate Chain, man, this looks good. This looks really good. Look how this thing has pulled back all the way from its peak now. And now it's starting to bottom out down here, starting to run with all the other privacy coins. This thing looks good. I actually like this a lot. Let's go to the daily candlesticks here. Yeah, this thing is starting an uptrend, you guys. It's starting to trend up here. So I expect this trend to continue for us to keep making higher highs and higher lows here and keep uptrending here on Pirate Chain in the near future. How high it's going to go, that's a whole nother story. Kind of depends on how much development there is, how much demand there is. There's a few things that can drive the price. Well, there's really only one thing that can drive the price of any market, and that's demand. If demand increases, the price will increase. And if demand increases and supply decreases, the price will dramatically increase. But demand drives price. That's pretty much the only thing that can really move a market. But that demand can come from different things. It can come from human emotion. It can come from fundamentals creating human emotion in people. It can come from chart patterns creating human emotion or willingness to invest. So the demand can come from different sources. Meme coins get their demand from communities, from people laughing, from it going viral, from, people getting excited, basically. Chainlink or other projects that are more fundamentally based projects, they get their demand from their fundamentals and from people believing in the project and getting excited about it, and then also demand from people that understand technical analysis, that are looking at these charts, that are seeing the opportunities in the market and taking advantage of those opportunities. So that's what drives the price. So if Pirate Chain continues to get development, continues to, maybe the community blows up, maybe people get really excited about it, those kinds of things can make a catalyst and it can drive price really high. But if it's just the developers gave up on it, nobody's touching it, there isn't much of a community left, then it will run with the other coins. It will start to pump with the other coins. But unless there's unless there's some type of a catalyst for demand, it's just going to follow the other coins because people are excited about crypto, not because it's really driving price in any significant way. So Zcash pumped because Zcash actually had real demand. Zcash is a leader in this privacy pump that we've been seeing lately. So Zcash pumped because of fundamentals and because of chart patterns, and the demand was real and measurable, and the demand on Zcash exploded because of the excitement, because of the strong community, because of the strong fundamentals, and because of the chart pattern. That's what the catalyst for Zcash. And also Zcash, you guys have to understand, Zcash and JP Morgan. Yeah, JP Morgan is working to integrate Zcash technology. So if you wanted to look into something in terms of fundamental value, Zcash has fundamental value. I don't know enough about Pirate Chain to tell you whether Pirate Chain has any of the catalysts that gave Zcash such a strong run. I can tell you it will probably follow crypto. But if you're looking for the biggest percentage gains, you want to buy stuff that has some type of a catalyst behind it. Because if you buy something that has some type of a catalyst, that's where you're going to get those big pumps that go all the way to new all-time highs that blow people away. And usually those catalysts come from either the chart or a really strong fundamental reason or just an obsessive viral community like meme coins, right? But I do like the chart overall here on R, and I think it will trend up here. If it does have good fundamentals, if there is a strong community, if it's still being developed, that could be a catalyst to make this thing see a Zcash type of run. I don't know enough about it to tell you. I haven't done my research on R or old Pirate Chain, but maybe one day I will. Let's see here. Alexis Diaz says, "Hi, Dallin. What about Velo?" We already ran over Velo, so I'm not going to run over it again. I went in depth on Velo, what I saw on the chart, where I think it's going to go. Velo looks good. That's pretty much all I have to say. It's in a leading diagonal Elliott wave. It did an ABC correction. It's going to bottom sooner rather than later and start to go for a run. Go back and rewatch this live stream if you want in-depth analysis on Velo. I go in a little bit more depth on how to look at that chart. Cool, we're an hour and 8 minutes in. I'm not going to keep going, but just to finalize my message for today's live stream, there is only one way that you can fail in crypto, and that's to get discouraged. Don't be this guy. Don't be the guy that puts his head down. Don't be this guy that puts his head down and walks away from the diamonds right before they're going crazy. Don't be that guy. So many people do this. This is one of the biggest causes of failure in the world, is this right here. You just got to keep going. Keep persisting. Don't walk away and get mad or get discouraged or blame other people. Just keep mining. Keep going. Keep walking. It's like Dory from Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. You really have to just keep swimming, you guys. Don't get discouraged. Have courage. Have faith. It's worth it to have those qualities. You're going to be happier to have those qualities. And even if, let's say, even if you're wrong, those qualities are going to pay in other areas of your life. So you might as well cultivate them anyways. but you're not going to be wrong. If you keep persisting with crypto, you're going to be more right than you probably even plan on being. So, all right, cool. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in today's live stream. I enjoy doing these. They are so much fun. It's fun to get the high energy kind of live feeling that we get here where we're all talking about crypto, hanging out, looking at the charts, being homies, being crypto bros and crypto family, you know, for my sisters out there too. So yeah, it's a good day to be alive. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. The future is bright. No matter what people say, the future is bright for crypto. And yeah, got big things coming. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys in future live streams. And as always, stay profitable out there.